Today we're going to welcome Gentile Lifts down to the K-hole.
Stop choking on carrots and hop under the squat bar.
And I don't know what in the obesity this kid is. Definition of an absolute rage baiter. He's been saying he's 17 years old for probably 2 years now, and also commonly talking about how he's a vegan, and then making videos about eating meats, so probably not. With this generational thing of posing with masks on, I genuinely don't understand the fancy behind doing this, nor why it goes so viral every time someone does do it. It's probably because they're making themselves look like a doofus and everyone can point and laugh, and that creates virality. But we are in the market of hate in 2025, and that seems to get more virality than just about any other mechanism in social media. So I guess he's winning.
Leg pressing should be your favorite leg exercise. The machine felt like I was jumping on a trampoline. Next, I loaded up 8 plates like I'm taking a big girl on a couple of dates. I put on a cool 855 like she was shaking her thighs. I told you before, if she ain't a ton, she ain't gonna be fun. Had to go back for some more food. 30 plates later, I feel like I'm airing out a buffet. Daddy's getting hungry.
Wow, woo, wee woo.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Make sure you subscribe. There's a big red button and it has a lovely warm touch to it. Go ahead and feel. If you click, you'll notice that it has a certain kind of squish that gives you a certain nostalgia of something very round and circular, also pink. It gave you some substance as a child. It's similar to that kind of feeling. I suggest you try it. Click down below, subscribe, and you might find yourself owning a Bugatti after this video. But back to the video. There's no Bugatti. There's no Bugatti. I'm sorry. I lied. All right, so homie's got some strength. That's actually a really impressive leg press, especially for that range of motion. Quite awesome, to be fair, quite awesome. It's a really good leg press. But there's a couple things that I don't understand about this guy, and I'm a bit confused about just by the nature of who he is. Because like transformations like this, I'm pretty sure it's 75% body fat added and not any degree of appreciable muscle. He just looks very unhealthy. I mean, truly unhealthy at this point. And also, what's with the way he talks? It's very distracting, very odd. It's kind of like rage bait, and it's working really well because just watching this makes me want to have him lose weight so that hopefully he can speak more clearly without more adipose tissue clogging up his vocal folds.
Come annihilate a dumbbell shoulder press PR with me as the world's weakest 18-year-old. 30s felt like a piece of paper. The 70s felt like there was straight water in my hands. 110s were light like a couple of men. Next up, I took a bite out of the 120s and sent them to the sky. 140s almost flew out of my hand and hit the guy behind me. 150s up next. They got bitched. I instilled some motivation in this gym.
I mean, bro is just straight up with maxing. He's not even gaining muscle at this point. He's just legitimately getting wider as a big human being at this. It's just like, what is going on? Shoulder pressing 150s is really impressive. It's super impressive. Is the guy healthy? Probably not. Is he strong? Probably. Here's the thing, you guys. Mass moves mass. And so if you have a lot of fat tissue, you're going to be able to move a lot of weight. It's why strongman and powerlifters are generally not lean and muscular. They're generally much fatter. And because of that, they can lift a preposterous amount of weight. But it's necessary. Mass moves mass. And in order to move really ridiculous types of weight, you have to lose the concept of lean bodies. You have to put on more mass. So the point has to be, at what point does the fat tissue become too much and you have to realize, hey, maybe I need to cut my weight down and get a little bit healthier in order to, I don't know, live a longer life. Maybe I'll lose that strength, but it's gonna be better for me. That's just how I see it. And when I look at a kid like this who, I don't know how old he is truly, but when you're lifting this much weight, but you're that heavy already in total fat mass, I get concerned, man. I get really, really concerned.
Get your pump on tuna with cans of tuna!
If it ain't smell like fish, then she ain't the right bish. Squirt everywhere. On tomato, give it some wetness. Tablespoon of the mayonnaise and olive oil. Got some salt? black pepper, and a little bit of olive oil. Mix it all up.
The amount of salt homie just used in this recipe is actually insane, because the tuna that he put in there, not only is it probably filled with tons of mercury, it also has a lot of sodium as a form of preservative. That combined with the absolute metric shit ton of fucking sodium he just put on is gonna lead to a bit of water retention. I mean, just look at his fingers as he's chopping up that tomato. We got some issues, and they're not necessarily lean muscle gains. We'll call it that.
Stop choking on carrots and hop under the squat bar.
This is just gross, honestly. Like, I don't want to hear this as I'm scrolling through social media. A guy acting to be a rabbit who weighs 400 pounds, lifting 600 pounds. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. Remember when fitness used to be this thing where, you know, that had class, people wore suits, you know, and like there was the golden era where guys walked around on beaches, women pursued them by choice, not by being paid to do so. I mean, just a really pretty time. It was actually when bodybuilding was in the limelight. It was on the TV. It was in the Olympics. I mean, it was a great time, a great era to be alive. And now we got kids wearing rabbit masks at the gym talking about how much they can squat. Where have we gone?
If you want to train like a dog, you gotta eat like a dog. $200 grams of protein for 2 ounces.
What kids do for validation on social media is honestly sad and extremely unfortunate these particular days. This guy gets a 0 out of 10 health rating from Coach Kolton. There's absolutely no way that I respond to this in a positive manner. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do you guys think there's anything impressive about this physique? I think he's got a really impressive, appreciable amount of strength, but the actual development of that strength, I think, is primarily through just having so much mass on one physique and not the good kind of mass, because this just looks so unhealthy. You just see the stretch marks all over his skin. You have to realize at a certain point, body fat is not a good thing, and it's actually a pretty fine line when that point is. We know it very clearly from many data at this point. And generally, if you want to build the most amount of muscle, it's not happening at this body fat. It's genuinely not, unless you're taking steroids. Then the conversation changes a little bit, which makes this guy a little bit more questionable even. And we've talked about this in other videos, but there's tons of adipokines and many inflammatory molecules that get produced when you have this much fat tissue. Also, having a ton of intramuscular triglycerides, sort of the marbling that you'd see in steak in our muscles, which happens when you get this degree of body fat, can inhibit insulin sensitivity locally in those myocytes or muscle cells. It's not a good situation because insulin is really how we mediate a lot of lean mass growth. People think that it's so critical to bulk into perpetuity, to do the dreamer bulk and to just eat and not stop eating, but that's so far from the truth. In fact, you honestly don't want to gain so much weight. If we think about this realistically, the best bodybuilders in the world, if you take their beginning weight with their ending weight in terms of a total career length at their leanest body fat, they don't gain that much weight year after year. We're talking about maybe 10 pounds in the most genetically gifted individuals in the entire world using the most amount of drugs, okay? The most genetically gifted humans using absolutely absurd doses of androgens, growth hormone, insulin, and various other peptides. And they're not gaining more than 10 pounds a year. Why do people think that if they're gaining a surplus of a pound a week, it's a good thing? You're just getting fat. There's no way you're putting on muscle that quickly. Now, you could argue that there's glycogen loading and intramuscular fats that are actually causing some degree of weight gain, but at the end of the day, majority of that weight is not good weight. You want to be controlling the rate of gain. This kind of shit is just how you get unhealthy and, to be very honest, cause lifelong issues like pancreatic insufficiencies and many more worse things. And even here where he's talking about how he went from aesthetics to maththetics, he literally still was not lean enough to be, I would say, considerably healthy. He's still got a lot of fat tissue on his body and he could be losing weight. weight. He could legitimately be doing a cut at that point, building muscle and sustaining a really great physique. Here's the problem. People are impatient. They want results now. And so if they can see the scale go up as opposed to staying neutral or even going down, in their minds, it means they're building mass super fast and they're being really, they're doing great things, right? They're growing tons of muscle. But the reality of the situation is that's just not the case. You can build muscle on a cut. You can build muscle at maintenance calories and slightly above. The pedantics of describing that get a little bit cloudy, but essentially if you're eating 100 to 200 more calories than you did the week before and you're still not gaining, even half a pound a week, like a quarter pound is great, you're good, You don't need to be eating into infinity and beyond because it's not achieving you any kind of results. And what we could actually say here is that the individual we're looking at didn't necessarily get the muscles that he did using a hyper super duper fucking maxing calorie surplus. He probably got the muscles from just abusing steroids. Let's be for fucking real. 99.9% of people you see on the internet are going to be using some form of performance enhancing drugs. It wouldn't surprise me if this was one of them, unfortunately. And so the harm in this, let's be honest, is talking about eating a meal of 1,800 calories of ice cream being a good idea to put on weight, to build muscle mass. You don't need to do that. That is ludicrous. And I think oftentimes what happens is people conflate seeing, 300-pound bodybuilders eating a lot of food and think, well, that's what I need to do. Brother, you're 180 pounds. You don't need to worry about doing anything even near that. That human being is twice your size and then some. You don't have the need for that many calories. And it's just this perpetuating thing. Everyone wants to eat more mass, eat more mass. It's like, you guys got to realize, man, first of all, these people are taking copious amounts of steroids, so they're inflating their rates of gain substantially. Second of all, just because the scale goes up doesn't mean you're gaining mass. You're gaining mass, but you're not gaining the right kind of mass, if you understand what I'm saying. The cross-sectional area of your fucking bicep isn't growing. It's your goddamn abdomen that's growing most of the time. Did homie just conflate lat veins for lat stretch marks? I can't believe this. Those are stretch marks. Those aren't veins. That's not a good sign. It's not something you typically see on a physique unless someone is, well, obese. Imagine a coach that you hire post this online. What do? Do you think, am I really paying the right guy right now? Or do you just keep on paying him thinking, hey man, it's pretty fine. You know what? He's got some issues, but he's my coach. Because he does inevitably do programming. He does do coaching for people. Somebody who's literally obese, he gives them bulking plans or custom meal plans for a couple bucks, $20, $25. That's fine and dandy. But the thing is, man, is it's like, what can you actually learn from this guy? He is fat, and he has been fat for the whole time he's been posting online. I don't know if he has any information that has a significant amount of value. What I will say is this behavior is just perplexing. And again, what young kids do for fame these days is just mind-boggling. It's like you have to get so saturated with dopamine in any context that the influencer at hand is forced to just do ludicrous levels of shit. But what it's influencing other kids to do is think that bulking to this degree, a disgusting amount of adipose tissue, is beneficial to anybody's function or health or literally just building muscle. Like, it's not beneficial to building muscle in no way, shape, or form. So what do we do with this? It's like, I guess you can just wear a turkey mask and walk around all day in the gym and call it good. But real talk, if you do want to bulk, is a very simple process. There's not a need for an excessive amount of calories. If you know where your calories need to be to sustain weight, truly sustain weight, you can keep them there and probably build a lot of muscle mass and then slowly increase those calories over time to continue to build that muscle mass, essentially meeting your new maintenance calories every time you do grow muscle by increasing calories slowly. Or the alternative is you find the weight at which you're sustaining weight at, and then you increase 100 to 200 calories more week after week until you find a place at which your average rate of gain is about 1/4 of a pound per week. If anything more, it's just not really worth your time unless you're using steroids and then things change a little bit. But even then, if we can go back to the example of the best bodybuilders in the world, they're not gaining more than 10 pounds of muscle mass per year. So why would you? If you're not taking any androgens, or if you are, these are the best and most genetically gifted human beings on Earth. They also take the most drugs out of anybody on Earth, and thinking that you can make this 50-pound transformation that he made in 6 months or whatever, it's just a little bit silly.